Come on in. You're always very welcome here. I would certainly never give you the cold shoulder, although today I will give you cold on the shoulder from Mr. Gordon Lightfoot. Hey, and welcome again to Acting is Reacting with me, JSB. Today I am celebrating the 50th anniversary of Gordon Lightfoot's 10th studio album, 1975's Cold on the Shoulder. So yes, it's another 50-year flashback. 50-year flashback! And I'll be giving it the random foreplay treatment. Now, if you were with me last year, including for my look at the Sundown album, the format has changed since then for 2025. So what I used to do was just hit shuffle and play whichever 4 songs were the first ones to come up. But now, it's all still random, but I will pick out 1 in every 3 for us to listen to together so we can explore the album in full, while still not taking all bloomin' day about it. And hopefully we'll hit the highlights along the way, but randomness can get in the way of that. That's half the fun. Suffice to say, I hope you approve of the choices I'll be making on your and my behalf along the way, but do let me know in the comments below what you'd have done the same or indeed differently. And of course, just any thoughts you have on Gord, this album, and the songs that come up in general. So cards on the table. Unlike Sundown, which is probably still my favourite Lightfoot album, this one ranks quite a bit lower for me. Probably isn't even in my top 10 favourites from him. But there are still some massive highs to be found, so let's hope the gods of randomness lead us to those. We'll chat more about the album and Gord in general along the way, but if you can boot that like button for me, baby, I will fire up the album and get us underway with our first track. Alright, so our first choice of 3 will be between Soul is the Rock, Now and Then, and All the Lovely Ladies. Well, we're starting with a tricky one here because I have 4 favourite songs on this album, and these are 3 of them. But I can only have 1, so I guess I'm going to have to go for Now and Then. One of the most beautiful songs in the Lightfoot catalogue, in my opinion, and one I saw him do live at the Albert Hall in 2016.
I think this time you've said enough to make me want to leave this place. Still I keep coming back for more of the same.
So fan the dying flame. Try not to sing along, but sometimes I can't help myself.
Seem to move a little closer every day. There must be a way out of this crazy game we play out to the end.
Let us just pretend a while. Think about the good things now and then. Feel free to sing along at home as well if you want. I mean, I can't hear you, but
I think this time that was the best time that we two have ever known. We tried the handle of the house upon the shore, found the open door. Once inside we found a curious moonbeam doing dances on the floor. We were only playing like 2 children who had stayed away from school. 2 of us could not be wrong. Heaven knows who keeps the golden rule. I think this time we've learned enough to know that nothing is the same. And still the pounding of my heart hasn't changed, and leaving so strange. Here among my thoughts of you I find a gentle longing to be free. There must be a way out of this crazy game we play out to the end. Take away the in-between. Think about the good things now and then. We will see the day when you or I will stay or face up to the end. let us just pretend a while. Think about the good things now and then.
All right, I'll pause it for a moment and we will chat a wee bit about that song and a bit more about the album before we go into option number 2. All right, starting strong with one of my very favourite tracks from the album, Now and Then, and it's one of Gord's favourite tracks too because he included it on this lovely box set, Songbook. I don't always agree with the choices he made, certainly not some of the other tracks that he includes, but this one, we're a tune, or we're in tune. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he's got song-by-song liner notes for those selections, so I thought I'd share that with you. He calls it a little bit of a somber feel to a song, dealing with the rather prevalent theme of unrequited love. Very ethereal, and sort of similar to Is There Anyone Home from the Sundown album. Yeah, I kind of get that, and Is There Anyone Home came up on Sundown for me last year, so at the end of this video, check out that video. You'll see how different things have been in the year I've been on YouTube. Gorgeous song, as I say. He did play it at the Albert Hall gig in London in 2016, the one and only time I got to see him live, which was a delight, even if he was, of course, towards the end of his life and not at his peak of powers, certainly vocally. But yeah, still a wonderful evening. Now, we heard some beautiful steel guitar on this track from Pee Wee Charles, and the bass was thumping along. Unlike Sundown, which lists the individual players for every track, this album doesn't, so I'm having to guess who's playing what. So I think it was Rick Haynes on the bass, but John Stockfish is on this album in places as well, so I can't really tell. We've also got both Red Shea and Terry Clements on various guitars, along with Gord, of course. Jim Gordon on drums, hurrah. And strings, gorgeous, from Nick DeCaro. So this is basically the same personnel who made Sundown and would make the remakes on the Gord's Gold album later in the year. And then the band would kind of change a bit after that. But this is, for me, the peak studio Gordon Lightfoot band. When you've got his old players and his new players playing side by side, and it's all rather lovely. Right, let's find a second track to hear. There's only one song coming up now that I am absolutely certain I'm going to play, and everything else is up for grabs, so let's head back over and see what song number 2 will be. All right, so my choices are Cherokee Bend, Bells of the Evening, and the title track, Cold on the Shoulder. Well, I said there was one track I knew I would definitely play if it came up, and it's come up. It's Cherokee Bend. Fair play. Keeping the props busy today, this is the Lightfoot biography by Nicholas Jennings, which is absolutely essential reading for any Lightfoot fan. If you haven't got it, get it, read it, it's great. Now, he mentions in here that this song was one of the few that wasn't the least bit personal on a otherwise very personal album for Gord. It tells the story of a First Nations boy who fled a life of mistreatment to join the rodeo, loosely based on Hal Borland's 1963 young adult novel When the Legends Die. Lightfoot had apparently read an adaptation of the novel in Reader's Digest. So an unusual source of inspiration for Gord, but a great song. Let's hear it.
His father was a man who could never understand the shame on a red man's face. So they lived in the hills and they never came down, but to trade in the white man's place. Early in the spring when the snow had disappeared, they came down with a bag of skins. In the fall of the year of 1910, Daddy died by the road down in Cherokee Bend. Daddy didn't like what the white man said about the dirty little kid at his side. Daddy didn't like what the white man did, nor the deal or the way that he lied. There was blood on the floor of the government store when the men took his daddy away. And the boy stayed by till he come to his end, and he run like the wind from Cherokee Bend.
Jim Gordon doing great work on this track. Sad ending to his career and life. But, yeah.
Now the mother was alone and the winter was at hand, and she prayed to her spirit can. It was warm in the lodge in the Kentucky hills on the day when the boy came in. Then a blizzard came down and it covered up the door.
I don't know who's doing what Cherry and Red, but they're both brilliant.
And he told her the tale of the terrible affair in the government store down in Cherokee Bend. Daddy didn't like what the white man said about the dirty little kid at his side. Daddy didn't like what the white man did, nor the deal or the way that he lied. For 3 long days and 3 long nights, they wept and they mourned, and then she returned to her work in her wheel, and they tried to forget about Cherokee Bend. Now the boy wasn't big, but he hunted what he could, and they lived for a time that way. But the food ran low and the meat went bad, and she said to the boy one day, I'm leaving tonight and I never will return from the land of my spirit ken. You must take what you need and trade what you can for a red man's grave down in Cherokee Bend. It wasn't very long till she closed her eyes and he wrapped her in a robe. He found her a place on the side of the hill and he buried her in the snow. Early in the spring he was seen coming down with his load looking ragged and thin. Not a year had gone by when he stood once again in the government store down in Cherokee Bend. 10 years tall and a redskin too, so he hadn't much face to save. And the men sat around and they laughed and they clowned at the talk of a criminal's grave. And a man from the east didn't smile when he said, you're the son of that Indian scum. If you value your hide, then you better abide by the white man's rules here in Cherokee Bend. But Daddy didn't like what the white man said about the dirty little kid at his side. Daddy didn't like what the white man did, nor the deal or the way that he lied. Then he spit on the floor of the government store, and it served him to no good end. At the close of the day, they had taken him away to the white man's school down in Cherokee Bend.
21 years later,
21 years since the boy disappeared. Where he run to nobody knows, but they say he fell in with a man named Jim, and he rides in the rodeo. They say he returns all alone to a place hidden deep in the Kentucky clan, and it's pretty well known who hauled up the stone to the grave on the hill above Cherokee Bend. Daddy didn't like what the white man said about the dirty little kid at his side. Daddy didn't like what the white man did, nor the deal or the way that he lied. There was blood on the floor of the government store when the men took his daddy away. It was 1910 and they never had a friend when he died by the rope down in Cherokee Bend. It was 1910 and they never had a friend when he died by the rope down in Cherokee Bend.
strong contender for my favourite song on the album. Great storytelling, and you probably saw it on the now playing boxer ahead of me that was actually the B-side of Rainy Day People, which was the big single from this album, which we may or may not get to in the next couple of choices. But the irony is not lost on me that had I done the old style format of just playing the first 4 songs that come up, I would have got my 4 favourites in a row. Whoops. But there's still other good tracks to be uncovered, so let's have a look at which 3 make up our next choice. So we have got the album opener, Bend in the Water, side 1 closer, Rainbow Trout, or the aforementioned Rainy Day People. Now, Rainy Day People reached number 26 in the charts, so I'm going to save that for next year because it'll be 2026, and I'll look at lots of songs that reached number 26 in the charts. If you don't know, this year I'm looking at songs that reached number 25. You can see how this works. So let's see if we agree with Mr. Jennings about this song that I'm choosing, because I don't think he's entirely wrong, but I think he's been a bit harsh. What he says is, the album did include one obvious clunker, with a dull melody and mawkish simplistic lines. It was a rare example of Lightfoot at his worst, lazy and uninspired. Now, what song is he talking about? He's talking about this one, Rainbow Trout.
In the name of love she came, this foolish
These are some of the mawkish lines he highlighted as particularly weak.
Swimming upstream in the world, and she said, please, please, I've lost my way. The current is too strong. In the name of love, kind sir, I pray. In the name of love.
We'll concede this is going to pale in comparison to the 2 tracks we've heard before, but still some more beautiful guitar work. There's pluses going on here.
So I took her by the hand, she took me by the will. She was all dolled up like a blue-eyed bug, looking for something to spill.
All dolled up like a blue-eyed pup looking for something to spill. Yeah, it's not his strongest line. I'll grant you that, Mr. Jennings. Love, cancer, I pray. In the name of love. That's pleasant to sing along to. If not for you to hear me sing along to it.
In the name of love she came, this foolish winsome girl. She was all decked out like a rainbow trout, swimming upstream in the world. And she said, please, please, I've lost my way. The current is too strong. Then she gave one flip of the rainbow tip of her tail, and she swam back down. And she said, please, please, I've lost my way. The current is too strong. In the name of love, kind sir, I pray. In the name of love. And she said, please, please, I've lost my way. The current is too strong. In the name of love, kind sir, I pray. In the name of love. And she said, please, please, I've lost my way. The current.
We'll concede he sings that part just once or twice too many, and it's a fade out, which I hate, but hey, yeah, it's not his greatest song, but I still like it. I hope you did too. And it's going to lead us to our final choice for the day. Now, if you've been playing along at home and you know this album, you'll know what those choices are, but for anyone who doesn't, they are Fine as Fine Can Be, A Tree Too Weak to Stand, and the album closer, Slide On Over. Well, since we just had side 1 closer, and since it's also my favourite of these 3 tracks, let's end where the album ends, with Slide On Over. Some more great work from Jim Gordon on this track, and everybody else for that matter.
My mama's got a long dress on. See how that little girl walks. And now we got it rolling. How are we gonna get it started? My mama's got something Daddy needs more than a lot. Now we got it rolling. How are we gonna get it started? Mama, put your long dress on. I'd like to take that little girl to town. And now that we have rolled it, how are we gonna hold it down? Gonna slide on over to that pretty little love that I found. And now we got it rolling. How are we gonna hold it down?
Quite a lot of very slow songs on this album, so this one comes in at the end as a kind of breath of fresh air, I find.
My mama's got a long dress on. Listen to that little girl talk. And now we got got it rolling, how are we gonna get it started? Gonna slide on over to that funny little love that I've got. And now we got it rolling, how are we gonna get it started? 'Cause my mama's got something Daddy needs more than a lot. And now we got it rolling, how are we gonna get it started?
Not a fade out to end the album on, but at least it's a musical fade out rather than a chorus repeated 25 times in a row. All right. There are our 4 random tracks from Cold on the Shoulder. Hope you enjoyed. So we hit 2 of my absolute favourites with the first 2 tracks, Now and Then and Cherokee Bend, and then we had 2 that are not my absolute favourites, but bad either. Obviously, at least one person disagrees with me on one of those tracks. Nicholas Jennings really goes in for Rainbow Trout in the biography. But what do you think about that song, or any of the songs that we did or didn't hear? And will you come back in 2026 to hear Rainy Day People? Of course you will. And to make sure you don't miss it, make sure you hit subscribe right now and be ready and waiting when that comes. And don't worry, there's be plenty of other great things along before then, including probably a look at the remake portion of the Gord's Gold album later in the year when that has its 50th anniversary. Nice. Meanwhile, there's other things that you can watch right now that YouTube thinks you'd like from me. Yeah, me. So I will just say thanks for watching today and bye for now, but not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.